around the world. You're doing great things around the world. Yeah, you're doing great things around the world. You're doing great things around the world. Great things, yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Diaspora Link. I'm your host, Diallo. We have another exciting episode for you today. I can't wait for you to meet our guest, Mr. Stephen McDonnough. So I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. Follow me. Let's get to know Stephen. I know you're going to enjoy today's interview.
Around the world, great things, yeah.
Welcome back to Diaspora Link with your host, Diallo. And as you know, every episode, before we get into our interview, we want to find out a little bit more about our guests. So today, again, we have Mr. Stephen McDonnough. Let's jump into our choices. Stephen, welcome.
Nice to see you, brother.
Nice to see you too. All right, so choices.
Yep.
I'm going to give you two choices,
Okay,
and then you have to choose one and tell me why.
got it.
This one, I think the first one is going to be a little bit easy.
All right.
All right. In the sport of track and field, the 100 or the 400?
100 all day.
100 all day. Tell me
day.
why the 100.
Because anything over 200 is too long of a distance for me, brother.
Anything over 200 is too much, right? All right. So the 100. All right. Being from the islands and having some of your family from the islands, I'm going to ask you to choose between Jamaican rice and peas
Okay.
and Trinidadian pylori.
I'm going to go with the Jamaican rice and peas.
Really?
Have to.
Ah.
Have to. It reminds me of Wache here.
It reminds you of Wache. Okay, so why that over pylori?
Well, I never really got into the pylori. I was more on the curry goat and some of the other things, but not as much pylori.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's two other choices in terms of just being in these places, Jamaica or Trinidad.
I got to say Trinidad.
Okay.
Trinidad.
Okay.
A lot of
so
memories.
rice and peas from Jamaica,
Yes.
but location Trinidad. Why Trinidad?
Absolutely. Trinidad, ironically, isn't a big tourist destination.
Okay.
You know, because they have oil and everything there, compared to Jamaica, where it's a bit more touristy. So you can get away more easily in Trinidad than Jamaica.
Got you. So you got more hideouts, more relaxing,
There you
more.
go.
But Jamaica, everybody's showing up to
Everybody.
Jamaica. Hey man,
Yes,
Irie,
yes,
right? Everybody show up
absolutely.
looking for weed. Like,
Yeah, buy
as if-
some weed, bro.
as if that's the only thing you do in Jamaica, right? Okay, here's
Definitely.
another one. All right, since we're in Ghana,
Okay.
Accra versus Kumasi in terms of being in the area and just where you're comfortable.
That's tough. That's real tough.
Good,
Real tough.
because I'd like to try to get at least one tough one.
That's real tough.
At least one tough one.
Wow.
You got to choose one.
I'll go with. I got to go with Accra.
You got to go Accra. Why Accra?
It's not as dusty.
It's not as dusty. All right.
But of course, you know, that's where our stuff is in Kumasi. So I
Right.
appreciate
You know what?
Kumasi.
I'm going to get back to Kumasi very soon.
Okay.
I have some friends and some people that I need to see.
Okay, cool.
Thank you for participating. Ladies and gentlemen, choices. We all make choices. Let's remember that our choices do not have to push us further apart, but they can always bring us back together. All right. So now we're going to go into our next called Top 5. I'm going to give Stephen 5 categories, and he's going to give us his top choice in each category. Okay, Stephen, this is our top 5.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a category, and you just choose the top. It could be your favorite, the best, the first one that comes to mind.
Got it.
Number 1, favorite book. Choose one book that's had a significant impact on your life.
There are many books. I'll say the one that's currently open on my coffee table right now is your book, The Smart Guide of
My man.
Repatriation
Good.
Guide. Yes.
Let's take a pause. He's talking about a Smart Ghana Repatriation Guide written by Diallo. You can get it on Amazon. All right, a Smart Ghana Repatriation Guide, my man. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Next, Your favorite sport?
It has to be track and field.
Track and field.
Track
We're
and
gonna get into a little bit of that a little later. Track
Okay.
and field.
Okay.
Okay. Next, your favorite food. It could be a kind of food like Jamaican food. It could be a specific thing like hamburgers.
It's wow.
If you had to choose one.
It's a number of dishes from West Indian cuisine
So West Indian cuisine.
as a whole. Yeah.
All of the Caribbean islands. Shark and bake.
Shark, definitely.
Everything.
I mean, there's too many to
Doubles.
name. Too many to name. There's too
Curry
many to
goats
name.
and zing.
Oxtail, stewed peas
Yes.
on the Jamaican side.
Okay.
I mean, there's too
West
many.
Indian cuisine.
Absolutely.
Got it. All right. Next, give me your favorite musical artist. Well, it may not be your favorite, but choose one. If you can only choose one musical artist, who is that musical artist?
I think it'll be blasphemy if I didn't say Bob Marley.
Oh, so you just gonna say Bob
I
Marley?
mean, I
because
have
you
to.
just have to
I
say.
mean, I have to, but I mean, he's the
You can't-
best. He's
you-
the greatest of all
You
time.
can't go back if you don't say Bob Marley.
But I mean, his music is timeless.
Right.
Anywhere
right.
you go in the world, you'll hear it.
True. True. Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yep.
Really, I haven't been any place where people don't know Bob Marley. So
absolutely.
that's very true. It's either Bob Marley or Tupac. Like, if just feel like those are the two that Michael Jackson. But anyway, all right. Last one. Favorite place to vacation.
It used to be Ghana.
But now you live here.
I live here now, so I've been looking at the Indian Ocean side. So
Okay.
Zanzibar, Mombasa, those types of places. Real
Got
nice.
you. Favorite place. And have you been there already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Real nice.
So whenever you need a break from Ghana,
I can
go east.
more easily get to Zanzibar.
you can easily get to Zanzibar. I'm hoping to try to get to Zanzibar. Really, I haven't been to East Africa yet. So
Okay.
I have a certain place in Kenya that I'm really trying to get to. So hopefully I'll get there this
It's
year.
beautiful over there.
Right.
It's a whole nother world.
I know. I'm going to make it. Top 5. Thank you for
Oh,
participating.
absolutely.
Our top 5 is a way to get to know our guests, is a way to kind of dive in a little bit to find out more about some very specific things. Now we are going to dive right into the interview.
Great things, yeah, around the world.
And we are back with Diaspora Link and our guest today, Mr. Stephen McDonnough. Now, before we get into the interview, I mean, you've already seen his choices, and you've already seen his top 5. And I just want to say something about this brother, because when I met this brother, this is somebody I haven't known a very long time. But when I met him, he was in Accra. He was at the Beyond the Return office, and I got a call and say, "Hey, is somebody here looking for your book?" So we started chatting. We finally got together. Brother came through, supported, mad love, bought 5 books off the top. For those of you who don't understand my slang, that means he bought 5 books immediately. And then when the brother was getting married, he came and bought 10 more books and gave them to everybody in his wedding party. So I just wanted to give him a shout out as somebody who didn't know me from anywhere and just gave me support. Brother Stephen,
Absolutely. Nice to see you.
thank you again, my brother. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. The information in the book was very good. Very good. And people need to have access to that at their fingertips. So I wanted to make sure that
Excellent.
happened.
So tell us about Stephen McDonnough. Tell us where you're from, where were you born, a little bit about your journey from where you started up through, college.
Got it. So I'm
Okay.
from Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
Went to Benedictine High School, an all-boys military Catholic school. Ran track there. Had the fastest times in the nation in hurdles.
Really? Hold on. Can I ask what year this was?
This was
Is that okay?
yeah.
Okay.
It's fine. I mean, I'm young. So.
Uh-huh.
2000.
Okay, 2000.
2000.
Fastest time
2001.
in the nation in hurdles.
Nation, in high school.
Yo, that's major.
It was back then. It was.
Right? I mean, well, okay. For me, it's just a major thing, period, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you always run track? Did you start track like as a, or did you just
No.
start in like high school?
I started in high school.
Really?
Freshman year.
Wow.
Freshman year.
So you didn't do like the junior meets and
None of that. But my father actually ran track.
Okay.
He's coming out of Jamaica.
Okay. Okay. Your father ran. So you got that athleticism in your blood.
Absolutely.
Now you said coming out of Jamaica. So I know that your family is not from the U.S. So tell us just where your mother's side and your father's side are from.
So my mother's side is from Trinidad.
Okay.
Trinidad and Tobago. And my father's side is from Jamaica.
Okay.
So, but I was first generation. I was born in the U.S. So.
Born in the U.S. So they came from the islands to
New York.
New York.
And
Okay.
then migrated to to Richmond. Yeah.
Okay, so you got the fastest time in the nation
Yep.
for hurdles out of Richmond, Virginia. And
Then I went to Virginia Commonwealth University on a track scholarship.
okay, shout out to VCU. Y'all keep giving
VCU.
scholarships
So
to
that-
young black kids all over the nation. We appreciate it.
Yep. I think my record still stands. The hurdle record, indoor record at VCU still stands.
Wow.
Yeah,
So when you go back, that means you're a distinguished alumni.
I don't.
You don't flaunt it, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Okay.
It
All
is
right.
what
All
it
right.
is.
All right.
But so I studied business management and,
Okay.
and financial planning. Ended up starting an investment advisory firm, Wyndham Financial Services. And
So
then
this is after college.
during college.
This is
before.
during college.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you was focused at an early age. If you started
I had
this
to.
a financial services business while you were still in college, you were focused.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm not a traditional student, right? So it took me a little bit longer to finish, but I was doing a few other things while I was going to school. So
Okay.
yeah. But from there, I started doing a bit more business management work, and then started in the international trade and development space.
Okay.
So import, export, helping U.S. companies sell their stuff overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what got me here to Ghana.
Okay. So that's what brought you here to Ghana. That import-export business.
Yes.
So what other countries have you worked with in terms of import-export, and what products or services?
Wow. So it was across the board, product and services wise. We had at one point teams on the ground in over 50 markets throughout Africa, the Caribbean, Asia, because we were working more in developing markets,
Right.
emerging and frontier markets, because they have the biggest need and they wanted access to U.S. products and services. Right?
Okay.
So, but one of my best friends and business partners is Ghanaian.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
So-
And did that happen
That was
before you came to Ghana?
It was before. So he brought me. He brought me here.
Got you. He was like, bro, you need to come home and get some of this
Yes.
fufu.
You
You need to
You
come to
gotta go.
Ghana.
You gotta
need
go.
to come to Ghana with me and catch some of these vibes, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what's up.
So for about 10 years, going back and forth,
Okay.
seeing all the opportunities on the ground here, it made me really focus on getting here permanently.
Got you.
Yeah.
So let me take. I'm gonna go a few steps back, because I am a member of what some people would call one of the Black Greek organizations, Pan-Hellenic, and I know you are also.
Absolutely.
So even though we aren't a part of the same organization, I want to give you an opportunity to shout out,
Absolutely,
to shout out your
The
organization.
oldest and the coldest, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay, there we go. I wanted to make sure that we
Absolutely.
didn't.
Throw it up.
I wanted to make sure that we didn't skip that part. Okay, so you're working with these various companies doing import and export
Correct.
around the world.
Yep.
And then you started coming to Ghana. You said 10 years ago.
Yes.
All right. So as you were coming to Ghana, was it vacation? Was it always business? You was just or was you just really coming for the fufu?
It was a little bit of everything, right?
Okay.
Work and play at the same time.
Got you.
You know, coming all the way over here, want to be able to spend time really enjoying the culture, enjoying the location, enjoying the country, but at the same time looking for the various opportunities.
Got you.
So
you've traveled around the continent as well too.
yeah, I have.
So like, what are some of the places you've been on the continent?
Well, South Africa, Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and then Ghana. Ghana's the only one in the West Coast that I've been to.
Ghana's the only West Coast.
Not West Coast, West Africa.
West Africa, but I got you.
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
western coast
There
of
you go,
Africa.
there you go.
All right, so now we're going to play Africa in 60. Africa in 60 is when we ask our guests to name as many African countries as they can in 60 seconds. We do not prepare our guests for this. We want to give them all of the pressure that there is, all right? So let's go. Can we get a countdown? 3. You got this, right? As many African countries as you can in 60 seconds. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
South Africa, Lesotho, Namibia, Mozambique, Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, DRC, Angola, Kenya, Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, Chad, Nigeria, Ghana, there's Ghana, Togo, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal.
Let's go.
Mauritius, Mauritania, Seychelles, Comoros Islands, Cape Verde, Liberia.
Finish. Okay, that's good. This was like 33, 34. But you know what I can see you doing? The map.
Yeah.
I'm like, because no one said Chad, right? No one has said Chad. No one said Djibouti. I don't think any of our guests have said Djibouti. You know what I'm saying? No one has said that so far. So, right.
That's how I can do it, bro.
Yeah, no. That's good. That's good. Okay, so you've been to those countries, and we do Africa in 60 because, as you know, in so many places in the world, people still don't see Africa as a continent. I really don't think people understand how large this continent is, right?
It's 2.5 times the size of the U.S.
When you can say that to somebody, but I don't think they realize it till maybe they have to catch a flight.
Oh yeah.
From west to east or from west to south, and then it's like, oh wow, this is like to get from one end from California to DC is the same, distance a lot of places. Okay, African 60, that was fun. You did great too.
Thank you.
All right, so now let's go back to you traveling back and forth to Ghana.
Okay.
And so your partner, he's still your partner.
Yeah.
And you all were partnered in the financial services business,
financial, yes,
as well as the import-export business.
Correct.
Okay, so here we are, and now you have moved to Ghana. What? Well, hold on. Let me take 2 steps back.
Okay.
I'm gonna take 2 steps back. As somebody who's been coming for 10 years, you came before the Year of Return.
Yes.
So when you saw the Year of Return campaign, how did you feel?
It was beautiful because one of the things that I struggled with prior to the Year of Return was getting people to come here, getting people to pay attention to Ghana.
Oh.
Because coming from the U.S., it's nice, but it's not as nice, and especially after the last few years, it hasn't been as attractive as it was. But I kind of saw a lot of that coming.
Got you.
So I wanted to tell people, hey guys, you need to really pay attention to Ghana. So when the Year of Return happened, it was perfect.
It was so then you didn't have to do as much convincing, and everybody you had been telling is now like
they're more seriously looking at it. I say it like that.
And not just and it's okay to vacation, but people are looking at it as a place to vacation as well as a place to do business.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm educating people on now is just the different opportunities, right?
Okay.
And how to do it from concept to being on the ground to implement.
Now, is this any particular industry or a specific industry in terms of, you said you're educating people on how to do it?
Yeah. So it's really focused on the agri sector.
Okay.
So no matter what, we have to eat 3 times a day, right?
Yes.
Where does the food come from?
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Because some people don't get 1 meal a day.
Yep.
But those of us who are blessed,
absolutely,
we get to choose, and sometimes we decide that we're only going to have 2 meals a day, and we get to choose what we eat.
Yep.
We get to choose how much we eat. So, love to all of those people who don't get a meal, and we do hope that, Diaspora Link at some point we will be reaching out to always help people in communities that might not have as many blessings as some of us do.
There you go.
Just wanted to shout that out.
There you go. Perfect. But coming from the U.S., if you're in the cities, which most of us are from, you don't really see how food is produced.
Right.
You don't see what goes into it. You have no control over it.
You just go to the grocery store.
You go to the grocery store. You may go to your corner store, convenience store, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know what they're putting in the foods. There's so many things that we just don't know.
Okay.
But food is like medicine.
Okay.
So if we're not eating the right things, then our body's not going to perform the right way.
Now, do you have family back home?
Yeah.
You have family back home. Are you from a large family, a small family?
Very, very large family. My grandmother had 12 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can just see how it's grown exponentially all over the U.S., Canada, the Caribbean. Yeah.
So, but are you the only member of your family who's here? Like, who's moved?
Yes, as of right now.
Okay. How is that for your family? Do you stay in touch often? You on the family chat group? Are you always on video calls? Like, how do they feel? Did anybody have any concerns or worries? Or, I mean, I know you have been coming for 10 years, but when you said I'm moving, that's still a
Well, I was here for a while before I said that I live here. You know?
Okay.
So I was always going back. So I went back, but I would just take more, or bring more stuff back over here.
Okay. So your family was cool. They was comfortable. They saw it wasn't like nobody was worried that, okay, you're moving there. That means we're not going to see you anymore.
Well, they can get on the plane. And
they can.
And they have.
They have.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, they love it. They love it. But, you know, dealing with COVID right now, it's not as easy for people to move around. Or people aren't as open to moving around as they used to be. But hopefully that eases up here this year.
So has it been difficult at all in terms of establishing a business here? Because you're someone who's done business around the world with a lot of countries, and there is an international standard of doing business, right? There are some things that you just expect people to know and do. Yep. Have you met challenges with that here?
Many.
Okay.
Many challenges. I mean, you have to ask questions here that you normally wouldn't have to ask.
Okay.
Are you gonna unload the delivery truck, or do I need to have a team on site to unload? I mean, it's little things like that
back home you might not have had to ask that question.
Never.
You know, once you order it, it's going to be unloaded.
They're not just going to bring the truck in front of your house and have you come and unload it. No.
Got you.
But I mean, it's little things like that. So you really have to pay close attention. You really have to pay close attention. So, but fortunately, my wife is Ghanaian, and she also helps with that.
Okay, so
well.
that's
she's made that transition.
Helps to help bridge that cultural connection and just understanding how things work on the ground and helping you with patience and
yes, a lot of patience. But it's worth it. It's worth it, right?
Okay.
But it's definitely a lot of patience that it takes.
All right, hold that thought. We're going to come right back. We're going to take a small break, and then we're going to come back and get into more with Stephen. We're going to talk about his business. We're going to talk about exactly what he's doing in Ghana and how he's encouraging other people to come. Peace, global African family. My name is Diallo Sumbri. I'm a co-architect of Ghana's Year of Return 2019, and I'm the president and CEO of the Adinkra Group. For the past 5 years, we've been bringing loads and loads of people to Ghana. Many of them, their first time on the African continent, their first time putting their toes in the African sand, in the African soil. And so many people have had their life changed. Our Birthright journeys are curated cultural immersion journeys centered around reclaiming cultural identity, exploring your ancestral heritage, and celebrating African resilience. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our Birthright Journey Partner Program. It's really simple, and you really don't have to do much other than email us at info@theadinkragroup.com. Now, what makes a great Birthright Journey partner for our program? Are you a leader? Are you an influencer? Are you that person that your family calls on to organize, or do you automatically know that that's your job? Are you somebody of status in your community? Are you a community leader? Are you that person in your church or in the school? If you are the ideal Birthright Journey partner. Do you believe that every person of African descent should have an opportunity to touch ground on the continent of Africa? If you are, then you are the ideal Birthright Journey partner. It's simple. We're going to show you how you can travel to Ghana for free. Not only can you travel to Ghana for free, but you can actually get paid to travel to Ghana. Really simple. Just contact us at info@theadinkragroup.com and set up a discovery call. You'll get to travel with your family and friends, you'll get to travel with your community, and the best part of it is that it'll be free for you. Or you'll even earn money doing it. So again, info@theadinkragroup.com. We look forward to seeing you in Ghana. We look forward to dancing with you in Ghana. We look forward to eating fufu, eating jollof, eating wache. Make sure you contact us now, and we would love for you to become a Birthright Journey partner. Madasi. And we are back with Diaspora Link with our guest, Mr. Stephen McDonnough.
Yes, sir.
So, Stephen, we left off on some challenges. You said many. You gave some examples. Let's talk about. Actually, give me a few more examples. They can be as broad or specific as you would like in terms of just some of the challenges you faced in doing business. Right? It doesn't even have to be specific to your industry or your business, but just some basic things that you've come up against.
Yeah. I'll say what's irritating to me is having to pay everyone's transport.
Aquaba. Welcome to Ghana. Listen, bro, listen, transport. Transport is just a fee. One way that you can deal with that is consider transport a tax.
I get it.
Because everybody needs transport.
I get it.
Okay.
That and then also withdrawal fees from Momo. Like, you're charging me all this money and then you still want me to pay the fees on top. I mean, again, in the grand scheme of things, it's cool. But it's just those little things that really irritate me.
Right. That's just like, why? How?
Add 25 cities to this large transaction that you're sending to me. I'm like, anyway.
To cover the fees.
Yeah.
You need to cover their fees. So one of the things that I realized about this, that I've learned myself, is we come from a place where there's more in abundance. So if you're buying tiles or sinks or whatever for building a house or any materials that you're buying, most of the vendors, they may not actually have the money to buy the materials, to get the materials for you. They can just source it for you. So they need you to pay a lot more up front, right? Whereas you're definitely not doing no net 30, net 15, net 45-day invoices. You can cancel that.
What is that?
You can cancel that in Ghana. Everything is paid up front and you pay transport. And I realized that I was like, okay, this is just something, this is the way it's done here. And I just need to get used to making sure that I have to pay more upfront, and most of them want 70% or higher fee. So now let's talk about how are you dealing with that, right? Because you're not here to do small business,
Correct.
right? So how are you dealing with what things have you put in place to help you deal with those things that irritate you or frustrate you, that you're still learning and getting used to in doing business?
I think the thing that gets me through it all is because I've done the projections.
Okay.
And so I know that it's all worth it.
Got you in the end.
In the end.
In the end.
And that's most important. And a lot of people don't really think about the long-term aspect of it. But it's an investment. You're investing time, comfort in certain situations. I mean, there's so many things that you're investing. But as long as you understand what you're working towards, and if you see it as a longer-term play versus a short-term immediate return, then you'll be all right.
And you're like, okay, I can deal with transport.
Yeah,
I can deal with transport for that.
But I mean, if you think about the future of this continent, right, and where the world is going, you know, what COVID exposed, being on the ground, just getting anything going here, right now, it can only go up. Right. Because if you think about the growth in the middle class, if you think about all the youth, the educated youth, right, just having some type of activity, you'll be all right for the long term.
Right, you'll be all right for the long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. A lot of times we have conversations with groups of diasporans who are here, the D9 community that's here, and a lot of times we express our frustrations about things, but at the end of the day, I always tell people I'm still here.
Of course.
Like, you may hear me get frustrated about something like taking 3 hours to get out of the airport or something crazy, but at the end of the day, we're still here. Like, we haven't left, we're not packing up. It's something that we're willing to go through because, again, we have a goal in mind.
And then also think about where you left. And some of the headlines that you get on your phone, the alerts on your phone, oh, this happened. They're like, I'm fine, I'll deal with the 3 hours.
Right, like, I ain't get shot.
Yeah.
Like, you know, sometimes people, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Like, I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about that. Tell us the name of your company.
So there's a few companies, but here that we're focused on right now is Pro Farms Gateway.
Okay.
And Pro Farms Gateway really focusing on the ground, sustainable farming practices where we're training local farmers on how to do organic farming using some of these sustainable practices. But we also have an online component for people outside of Ghana who are interested in coming over here.
Okay.
So an e-learn platform to learn about types of business opportunities as it relates to the agricultural value chain in Ghana. So a lot of education on both sides, but that's actually set up as an NGO.
Okay, it's an NGO.
It's an NGO here.
Now, is there specific agricultural products? Is it or just any?
It's across the board. So our site, we're developing a 30-acre site as a demo farm.
Okay.
So we can use a lot of the talent that's here to focus on some of these more sustainable, regenerative practices, because those are the ones that aren't really mainstream. So a lot of the farming practices are old practices picked up from generation to generation. But if we want to do regenerative farming where we're actually adding more to the land than what we're taking from it, then you have to look at an entire ecosystem on site. So that's exactly what we're developing with our land. And then with the online ecosystem, as we'll call it, where all the stakeholders in that agricultural value chain are there, being able to utilize all of those resources in a more efficient and effective manner.
Now, you said sustainable and regenerative farming practices.
Yes.
Give us an example of something that's done now that you've experienced or seen in Ghana, and a sustainable and a regenerative practice that can change the scope of dealing with that agricultural product.
Okay. So if you think about fish farming, right? So with fish farming, once they process the fish, all the waste is, they're not using it as they should when it comes to fertilizer. So taking fish waste and combining it with things like sugarcane, as an example, letting that sit, in a few weeks you have what you can use for fertilizer for the crops. So now as you're growing the feeds for the fish, you're not having to pay for your fish feed. So now your operating expense is a lot lower than what it would be.
Got you. That's a great example.
Like
And your 30-acre test farm is in Kumasi.
Yeah, outside of Kumasi.
So how do you what is the atmosphere in Kumasi around your business? Or why did you choose Kumasi? Was it just that's where the land was, or was it something specific about Kumasi you said, let's do it there?
Well, we wanted to make sure that we weren't more than 2 hours from a major airport, right?
Okay.
So I can get on the flight in Kumasi, come here, and go wherever I need to go. But not really civilization. You know, that's.
I got you.
Maybe we'll have to edit that out.
Don't worry, I got you. They get it.
But the land there was far enough away from the city, but close enough, and you're able to get a larger tract of land up that way. But now we can do a lot more. So the versatility of the land, the topography.
Okay.
There's 2 high peaks, so now we can have lookout points and put chalets, so when visitors come from the States and other places, they can actually come and experience farm living. And get the nature, reconnect with nature, since that's very, very important.
Right.
From coming from DC, coming from these cities that
even from Accra.
I mean, or Accra.
Right.
But not having to deal with the traffic. That's my biggest thing here. Such a waste of time.
Kumasi traffic is not.
It is.
It's not slight.
You're absolutely
It's
right.
not slight. Maybe on the outskirts, but I know Kumasi traffic is just as bad as Accra traffic sometimes.
But once I get onto my site, I don't have to leave this.
You don't have to leave. You're there. You ain't got to worry about it. You fresh air, breeze with nature. Got you. Okay, so talk to us a little bit more about the trajectory of your 30-acre farm. Like over the next few years, what do you expect to have happen? Maybe what are some of your larger goals? What are some of your smaller goals? And even how can other people see or get to your e-learning platform to find out more about what you're doing?
Got it. So as we look at the farm, definitely a long-term thing. Right? We were fortunate to purchase an already established orange orchard.
Okay.
So it's already established. Of course, some of the trees are older, so we're rotating those out and putting new things. Also clearing out some space because they didn't do anything on that site other than have those trees, right? So some of the first things we did was we planted coconuts all the way around the boundary,
Okay.
just to be able to identify it from a distance. But in 2 more years, those coconuts will be bearing fruit. So to be able to sell the coconuts, we're clearing out spaces for the livestock.
Okay.
We're digging out like a wetlands area where we can have the fish species.
Okay.
But also we want to bring back the birds and those types of things
Nice.
there, but really creating this totally off-grid oasis out there, since there really isn't anything like that I've seen. But as I mentioned, being able to have the chalets and those pieces where tourists can actually come now and stay on site, because out there you don't really get that international standard when it comes to accommodation. And
So you're building it.
absolutely. And that's why people stay in Accra or they stay in Kumasi and only go short distances from those two, because those are the only places that you can really get that standard.
Right.
I like air conditioning. I don't like to sleep with the windows open and have to worry about mosquitoes all night. I mean, I just don't like that.
I get it.
I like warm water.
I get it. Some of us do. Some of us do. No, that's very important.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that, because I think it's important for people to know that when they come,
Yeah.
it's going to be very beneficial to them to be clear about who they are, right? And what are those things that are non-negotiable,
Yep.
right? Like, it doesn't make you less of a committed person to Africa or your business if you require AC.
Yeah.
And some people have this concept and this idea that being more traditional means being less comfortable, right? Or like, if it's traditional, then it's struggle.
Yeah.
Like, I know my ancestors be looking at me like, bruh, we ain't come this far for you to struggle, right? Like, struggle is not in our legacy, and it doesn't have to be. So I'm glad you said that, because I really think it's important. And some people get caught up with that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they go through this internal thing, like, well, all of these people don't have AC, and I'm complaining about not having AC. And
I mean, I like good wine.
Fine wine, nothing wrong with that. Right. How do you feel about the cultural scene in Accra? Like, I mean, we know it's a big party town.
Yeah.
December in Ghana, when that comes, is outrageous. But how is that part of your moving here and living, in terms of just being able to go out to nice places, have fine wine, being able to go out with your wife, and just in living?
Yeah. Whatever you're into, you can do it here. But it has
say that one more time for the people in the back.
Whatever you're into, you can get it here with additional flavor. And that's the piece. Like the detail that locals put into certain things, activities. I mean, we don't get that type of creativity back in the States.
Right.
So coming here, I can eat that up all day. The visual aspects of it, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing to come.
Got you. Let me jump back into your business. So, are you employing people right now in Ghana?
Yes.
How many people do you employ?
So right now we have 3 people on site full time, and then seasonal, and depending on what projects that we're working on, we'll bring other locals from the village to help out.
Okay. And so, what crops are you all? I know you mentioned coconut.
Yeah.
You mentioned fish. You mentioned livestock. Like, what other agricultural products will you grow?
So we're clearing the space right now, and we're working with our agronomists to see exactly what fits where, based on the topography and everything, and then also how it can all come together in that ecosystem, sustainable format. Yeah.
So you're at a space in your business where you all are kind of really just getting started.
Yeah.
You're just getting started.
It's still under development.
Right.
It's still under development.
How would you rate this risk, right? Like, what I found when I came here is, and I'm talking to other people about investing and doing business here, and most people are immediately just looking at their ROI.
Yeah.
And I think some of my head down focus, and the reason for just being like, I'm on my run, I can't come home, I can't come back for a few years or only a little bit, because I got to stay focused on this thing, is seeing the big picture.
Yep.
And seeing what those projections and those numbers are going to be. But for you, in what you're doing there right now, how do you find the risk? right? Because there's some protections you don't have here when you're
Correct.
investing in a business.
Correct.
Especially something on land and you just don't know. How do you deal with that?
So the way I look at any business, it's most important is risk management.
Okay.
Risk management. And so agriculture, the cost of planting, I mean, I'm not paying to put a building up. That's when you talk about risk, that's what I'm comparing it to.
Okay.
But what we're putting on the ground, in the ground for the long term, and while we're doing it in the structure that we're doing it, right? So demo farm so that we can test out which ones would be best for commercial production on a larger scale.
Okay.
So in a sense, we're still managing that risk by looking at the entire picture and identifying which key areas, whether it be livestock or crops, that we can do on the 500 acre plus size.
Got you.
So we're testing it all out so that we can maintain control of that risk.
So your demo farm is your R&D.
Yeah.
How would you rate the importance of R&D here as you dive into business, even outside of your industry, just as a business person? How important is R&D, research and development?
Yeah, I would say that when you're investing in the early stages, don't invest more than you're willing to lose. I'm very conservative. A lot of people
say that one time, because we're having a conversation that some people will watch and get it, and then other people may not.
Yeah.
Right, because they haven't they're not investing in things. They might have some savings, but they haven't actively gotten involved in investing. So say that one more time. Don't
invest into things don't invest what you're not willing to lose in the beginning. So you can really test it out. Stress test this thing. Because if you go all in, we know a lot of people that have packed up and had to go back home.
I would say more than that have stayed.
Yeah. Because they thought, I'm coming from where I'm coming from. I've been successful there. It's easy to do it here. And you go back home with just a shirt on your back.
Right.
Because you didn't take the time to properly vet, do all the R&D, and manage your risk.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So tell us, I'm going to give you one more question because we're running out of time. I would love to sit and talk more and really get into some of the details of what you're doing with agriculture. But give us an idea of what your trajectory looks like in 5 and 10 years. Like, when do you feel like you're going to be able to scale? And I'm going to add this onto it. How do you see what you're doing moving beyond Ghana through the continent of Africa?
Got it. So first and foremost, anything in the agri sector, you have to be adding value at the end of it. It's not just growing. You have to process, you have to package, and either you distribute it locally or internationally. So that's what I'm looking at. That's my background, right? But the beauty of Ghana is the same as Cote d'Ivoire, it's the same as Nigeria, it's the same as a lot of the other countries on the continent. So if you can figure out a model that works here, it's duplicatable, replicatable. And with the African Continental Free Trade Area, you have more control to establish operations in other areas all across the country. So long-term wise, as I mentioned, demos right now to do our own R&D and then identify what works, do it on a larger commercial scale, but also have that processing component so you can export it locally throughout the continent or anywhere in the world.
Excellent. And agriculture is such a big business and such a big opportunity for people here. And it requires you to, number one, educate the population around you because you're going to be doing it differently. And I'm sure one of the things you experience here is a lot of things are done just because that's the way they've always done it.
Yep.
And people don't necessarily have access not only to the information but to adequate training to know, or the resources to know, how do I do it differently? How do I do it better? So that's a really big thing. And then you're employing people. So that's giving back to the ecosystem, as you said. Last thing before we go, sound advice, 1 or 2 points, to anybody who is looking to come and invest, regardless. Maybe they're just looking to move and check it out. Maybe they just want to come visit and scope,
Yeah.
What is your 1 or 2 pieces of advice to people who are looking to come this way and get into something?
Honestly, I think you have to come. I mean, period, the end. You come here, you don't just stay in the city. Really go out into the rural areas and understand what it is that you want to do and why you want to do it. What's going to motivate you to continue to do it once it gets difficult. But being here is most important. And a lot of people need to take that next step before they start to look at other investment opportunities.
Get off the computer.
Yeah.
Get offline.
Yep. Get off
come.
IG. Come here.
Let me I know we have to go, but I want to ask you one more thing. Since COVID, like you said, if people have been paying attention, you've seen that. Like I always tell people, look, the jig is up. COVID has showed you that there really are no rules, and everything they've been telling you it can happen without it, right? How have you found being here during COVID? Because, the times that I've gone back to the U.S., it just kind of felt like a dumpster fire in the news and everything. It's just like this thing. And here it feels a little bit more relaxed to me. But how have you, we still have to be cautious. We still have to maintain distance and things. But how has COVID felt? Has it felt overwhelming? Has it felt manageable?
It's been very manageable. People are still getting sick severely with COVID here.
Right.
But COVID is just like anything else. You have to manage it, but manage it in a way that you can still accomplish whatever it is that you need to accomplish. But COVID, I haven't had any real issues. Places that you go, they still require masks and hand sanitizers, those types of things. But no, it's been okay.
Cool.
No issues.
Brother Stephen McDonnough,
sir.
thank you so much for joining us here on Diaspora Link. I appreciate you coming to share with us.
Well, I appreciate you having me. And I'm glad to see what you're doing with the show, because it's very important to get our messages out, and you're creating that platform. So I've always been impressed watching you over the years. So keep up the good work, brother.
Thank you, my bro. Thank you. Stephen McDonnough, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Diaspora Link, and we will see you next time.
You're doing great things around the world.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Diaspora Link. I want to thank our guest again, Mr. Stephen McDonnough, for coming and sharing a little bit of himself with us. I'm your host, Diallo Sumbri, and we'll leave you today, as we do every episode, with a bit of ancestral wisdom in the form of a proverb. Today's proverb is actually one of my favorites. The best way to eat an elephant in your path is to cut it up into small pieces. We hope to see you next week on Diaspora Link.
Great things.